Hi, how are you? My name is Ravi Subramanian, the Director for Industry Solutions at HiveMQ. We are here at Hannover Messe and we have two superstars, one from HiveMQ and one from Snowflake here. And I would like them to first introduce themselves and then we can get into the interview. First, I want to introduce Dominic Obermeyer, CEO of HiveMQ. Dominic?
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Dominic Obermeyer. I am one of the founders of the company HiveMQ as well as the CEO.
Thank you. And then please, Pugal.
Thanks for the kicking this off,
Thank
Ravi.
you.
Pugal Janakiraman, I'm the CTO for manufacturing at Snowflake. Drive industry solutions to accelerate digital transformation and value realization journey for data, around data.
Absolutely.
That's what I do. So.
All right, so I'm going to be moderating this session and then asking all the questions to the brilliant minds here. So the first question is, obviously, in the world of industrial world, we generate a lot of data. But the data is not any good until you actually turn that into insights. So I want to know from both of you, in the world of secure real-time data movement, how do you see that? How do you think HiveMQ and Snowflake can come together to enable this ability to move real-time data and what value we can bring? Maybe I'll start with Dominic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to industrial data in particular, and especially when it comes to real-time data, data needs different, let's say, stakeholders that require the data at different times. And data is very often produced somewhere on the shop floor, as an example. But eventually you need to have the data somewhere accessible to the whole enterprise. And this is then also where we also partner with Snowflake, because Snowflake is really the best solution when it comes to the data having accessible in the cloud towards the organization. While here at HiveMQ we are focusing on moving the data where it should be, as an example also to Snowflake, but we also integrate especially on the shop floor. So we have many customers that integrate their real-time data on the shop floor, and then either high-value data or even all of the data eventually then also lands into Snowflake for further analysis and also for further use cases.
Just to add to that, we all know manufacturing facility, there are many protocols with which machines talk to each other.
Yes, correct.
But the best and most efficient way to publish the data into a cloud infrastructure, it has to go through the fundamental principles of edge-driven, published by exception, and get it as efficient as possible in the cloud. Today, the best protocol to do that from edge to cloud communication is MQTT.
Right.
Nothing else.
Right.
That keeps the cost low for our customers. And again, from that point of view, the game is easy from a Snowflake point of view. The best-in-class product today, there's nothing better than HiveMQ. For the scale testing we have done together, large-scale implementations we are in middle of.
Right.
So that's a given. It's MQTT and the HiveMQ as a broker, and also an edge connectivity becomes super important.
Yes.
More so when we are trying to expand this relationship into the connected car side of the world. That's where we want to aggressively move forward this year as well. So again, this partnership is super important for us. MQTT data becomes super important. Whether it is real-time, near real-time, whatever you are trying to do in cloud, to get the data with the highest possible fidelity, lowest possible cost, without bringing the network down, we cannot think of any other approach. This is it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. You actually touched upon one of the questions that I wanted to ask, which is basically the whole world of OT data is being messy and fragmented, and how would we take advantage of these modern cloud native architectures to take advantage of it without disrupting operations? Because obviously you want OT to be efficient, but at the same time you want to bring the data. How do we enable that?
Again, I think, as you know, we are a cloud company.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, a lot of this game happens at the edge. We need to recognize that legacy, which is going to be there for next 30 years. It has been there past 30 years or 40 years. It is going to be there for the near future.
Yes.
We need that edge partnership. Obviously, that's where you guys come into the play as well.
Yes.
With the Hive Industrial Edge, it provides us mechanism to provide that connectivity into the edge hardware, software, OT infrastructure. Contextualize the data, bring it into an MQTT format and publish into Snowflake. So this becomes super important for us as well from that point of view. Right.
And Dominic, I wanted to ask you, what have we been doing from a HiveMQ perspective to enable this edge to cloud architecture and enabling OT professionals to be able to do their jobs better from our perspective?
Yeah. So as already mentioned, there's a few things when you look at traditional unified namespace architecture that pretty much everybody in the industry is now looking towards, and the unified namespace allows you to have access to all the contextualized data, but it's also integrating all of their systems for their and have the data available for the right stakeholders at the right time, and it's also in a very cost-efficient way. And one piece that's important is an edge gateway. And an edge gateway is usually the software component that is taking all the proprietary communication protocols. And there is more than 100 of these out there that needs to be integrated eventually, and brings it together in MQD standard format that allows you to move the data around, but also has the data contextualized, but also has the data available in a structure that you can use it for further analysis later on. And this is the first piece. And we have something what's called HiveMQ Edge. It's free and open source, and it's really built for integrating the data. And the benefit of also the free and open source approach for us is that very often innovation is driven bottoms up these days in organizations. And so this allows, it's cost neutral to actually test out, proof of concept it, and then usually what's happening once the first use cases have been identified to build upon, then the commercial variants come in, and this is then also usually when it comes to, okay, how can we build the whole data pipeline up to the cloud? And this is then where the MQT brokers come into play as a central component. And an MQT broker is a piece of software that moves the data around, that's responsible for efficient data movement from the edge devices and then also eventually also to the cloud. And so, as I said, you have three components. You have a software gateway like HiveMQ Edge. You have an MQTT broker, which is the HiveMQ platform, and then you usually have a data destination, data lake, or data platform in the cloud, which is Snowflake.
Yeah. And then we have the extensions to be able to send the data pipeline.
Yeah.
We have the extensions to be able to send the data to Snowflake. So this next question is I think something that we may have already answered, but what do you think are the major roadblocks to building these modern scalable data infrastructure? And how does the joint approach between HiveMQ and Snowflake enable that? Maybe I can start with you, Pugal.
Sure. I think I would say the biggest challenge for customers is you can sell an architecture to an IT organization. At the end of the day, the people who are signing the checks are the business community.
Yes.
They want to see the return on investment. They want to see value. As you know very well, manufacturing facility, if you go to a VP of manufacturing, they don't care about the money side of it much. As long as you can deliver value.
Yes.
Can I produce something faster, better quality? So they will have no issues in moving forward on that.
Yes.
I would say the biggest issue is trying to do a pilot without having a business outcome in mind, or trying to choose something way bigger.
Yes.
Start with one use case, show the value, and then we can show the architecture how it is going to help with that value and all of it, and it's easier to scale.
Right.
So.
Yeah, Dominic, maybe you can add.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add, but it's not technology that's the challenge.
Yeah.
It's never technology. Technology is the easy part once a strategy is defined, and as long as there's unclear return on investment, it's very hard to use any software in a manufacturing environment. And so it's starting with the use cases. What are the first use cases you want to develop? But then also, very important, once the use cases have been defined, not really only work solely towards the use cases, build a proper platform, get the architecture right then, because more use cases will come. Once you've shown that the first few use cases are providing value, then you need to have a scalable platform where you can deploy new use cases. Right. You need a data platform, you need the infrastructure. And just to bring this into an example, one of our customers told us that previously, before they had a unified namespace architecture, also with HiveMQ, with the brokers and with Edge, they had 6 months for a new use case to roll out to their more than 200 sites. And now they are at 4 weeks. So this means once you get the platform right, once you have the first use case, you can deploy more use cases more and more. And the other thing is, at some point of time, you want to have an agile organization that allows you to test out. We want to have departments that can try and test out, A/B test specific things to see what actually provides the value. And so my recommendation here is to build on open architectures and on open standards, and not get it locked in proprietary when it comes to the device communication. So this would be something that I feel very passionate about.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Great response. I knew that you're going to bring up that example. That's why it was leading question for you.
A good example.
So, great example. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we did touch upon it briefly as well. So what are some of the use cases where HiveMQ and Snowflake can come together and deliver real business value? Maybe we can start with manufacturing and we can also go into connected cars.
So
maybe.
I think the best example is, let's take customer example. We did a joint broadcast last year with a very large chocolate manufacturer in Switzerland. I'm sure everybody
knows that.
Lindt Chocolates.
Yeah.
So it's a joint reference for all of us. Us, HiveMQ, and as well with HiveByte.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So end of the day, that use case is all around making sure there are accessibility to the data, whether we call it unified namespace, IT data, OT data, for them to get access to it, contextualized data, so they can take decisions to improve the manufacturing efficiency. That's what this is all around. So that is a real customer journey. Who did it together with us, heavily successful, happy enough to refer us and all of it in a broadcast we did last year. Other than that, there is a whole bunch of other Industry 4.0 use cases possible. Energy efficiency. How do you improve energy efficiency? By getting contextualized data, not just from power meters, but from, you're trying to sub-meter the line or the machine or an asset and try to contextualize the data and then do the energy efficiency. Or other use cases, whether it is quality control, computer vision-based quality control, or whether it is going to be maintenance use cases, all of it is on the table for us. I'm not even touching yet the connected car side of it. That is going to open up like whole set of warranty, digital twin, product development use cases, all of it on the table.
Maybe Dominic, you can talk about connected cars, because that's kind of like an area that we started in. Some of the major advantages that we have in the connected car space and how we have helped customers out. Maybe you can touch upon that.
Yeah, just really quick on this one. So when it comes to, one of the interesting things is that the communication patterns that you have today in the manufacturing environments are the ones that also have been using in connected cars for quite some time, and also in oil and gas. So especially the MQTT protocol you will find it everywhere. And we have a lot of experiences in connected cars. I also know Snowflake is, we have a lot of joint customers. Like if you look at our customer base, we all work with Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 2000 companies. And so, of course, there's a lot of use cases. Some of them we can talk about publicly, some of them we can't talk about publicly yet. But yeah, we have experiences in the largest connected car platforms. A customer of us has 30 million cars connected to a single installation. The amount of data being produced is staggering. So you need both a scalable, let's say, communication platform, but also a scalable data platform to bring the pieces together. But the interesting thing is, in manufacturing, it's not so much about scale. In connected car, it is about scale. But it's at any point of time, it's about being cost efficient. And this is something why I'm so excited about the partnership with Snowflake, because we have proven times over times again we deliver a lot of business value with a really high return on investment also in different verticals, in connected cars, in manufacturing, in oil and gas, but also in a lot of other things which we can't talk about publicly at this point.
All right. So we are probably 20 minutes into the interview. I have to bring up AI, because that's kind of like the 800-pound gorilla here, right? Everybody talks about AI. I hear terms like generic AI, generative AI, agentic AI, and you take the pick, right? But then, like, to be able to do AI, there are certain things that needs to happen before AI so that the data is efficient. So maybe Dominic, you can talk about, like, how do we talk about, like, the preparation that's needed in anticipation of AI?
Yeah, I mean, AI is interesting to the extent that, we saw a lot of hype, but now we're seeing also the value being generated by AI. Yes. And this is what was exciting me. And, for me, in the manufacturing context in particular, I try to distinguish, we have traditional machine learning as well as also AI. Yeah. And, very often this gets mixed together, which we can. But there's one foundation that it requires for machine learning as well as for AI, and this is data. And data being available and data being contextualized at the right time. And while for traditional machine learning you might have a full distributed architecture, when it comes to more, let's say generative AI, you really need to have the data there to train the models, and also have all the data centrally. And I mean, I can't predict the future when it comes to AI. Really, like many years ago, I wasn't able to predict the future. I likely will not be able to predict the future, what's coming next. But what I can predict is you need a solid data strategy and a data platform, edge to cloud, that will support the current use cases, but especially also use cases that will come. We don't know. Like it's hard to predict innovation, but what we can tell 5 years from now, what we even believe what will be possible with AI. It will be much, much more. So we will be disappointed by our own predictions, how conservative they were. And so I think it's the time for all of the businesses to have a proper data strategy and to have a proper data platform, edge to cloud, that will scale with the innovations happening with AI. Because companies need to harness and leverage the power of AI. And currently, if you go into a purely proprietary point-to-point based system, the bad news is you cannot really use AI today, and you will not be able to do it in the future. So building a proper platform becomes mandatory for all of the companies.
Google, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think obviously he said all the right things and hit the point, obviously. We sincerely believe in that as well, Snowflake, because we are a data company. And we have started reinventing ourselves as an AI company as well. But we know fully well, without a data strategy, your AI strategy is not going to work. And customers are already there. And that's why, as you know well, last 2 years, my focus has been to fix the data strategy mainly for manufacturing flavor, OT. Because IT, we have always been good. OT is something which we introduced as part of the cloud launch we did 2 years back in Hannover. And that's how we made sure that OT data strategy is streamlined and that can land with whether it is UNS context or just bring both of it and then you do it manually in context of a use case, however you do it. But we want to make sure that contextualized data is available. But one thing I can see, as you said, I'm really excited on the AI adoption from LLM point of view that far outstrips the pace in which traditional ML and all of it got adopted. LLM adoption is far faster compared to anything else. Obviously, we saw that in Prove It conference when we launched the capability on how to consume data without understanding OEE. You are trying to talk to the data and understand what's going on plant floor. Because LLMs has this mechanism to democratize technology, where you don't need to know AI, you don't need to know Python coding, but you can just construct a graph of what's going on in last shift, last hour, what's the OEE metrics, you can figure it out. That's the beauty why people are adopting this much faster, because it's democratizing the technology.
It is. Okay, so one final question for both of you. So what advice would you give to industrial leaders that are starting off on this journey to modernize their data architecture? So maybe I'll start with you, Pogo.
It's easy. Start with the business use case, real world use case. Find out which plant, which line you want to do it. Don't go big. Just be very focused. Go start that particular use case. Prove the business value out before proving anything else. Because that's what will keep your business customers happy. And also that project will have legs to stand, whether there is an IT budget cut down or not, because they see the value. They will invest.
I don't have a lot to add here. I think the next step after really proving the business value and have a successful, first of all, proof of concept and proof of value is to think about, okay, how can what we have here be of value to the whole organization? How can we scale this beyond this department where this might go? And this is usually the place where also a platform strategy comes into play. What is the platform? And my advice would be build it on open standards, and then also think about it edge to cloud and back. Even if you don't have a cloud use case, even if you don't have an edge use case, think of it end to end. It's very cheap to do it in the beginning, but it's very expensive to add this later on once this is not being considered.
I heard a lot of value, business value. I think that's one thing that we can take away from this. Business leaders, think about business value. That's my key takeaway. So I want to thank you guys for your time, Dominic and Pugel for your time, and thank you IIoT World for this opportunity to interview.
Thanks for hosting us, Lucian.
Thank you.